We have Mr. Kevin Myrick going to give us a little taste of his world. So, here we go. Come on up here, Kevin. Enjoy.
A little taste of my world. That's a nice turn of phrase, John. Thank you. Hold on a second. I'm paper impaired today, so I'm working off the phone. All right. This first one's called Pageant Night, y'all. It's Pageant Night in the heartland of America at the county fair. Babies and toddlers bounce around the stage during practice, throwing tantrums and kicking legs in their fluffy pink lace dresses as their mothers try to make them walk across the stage and perform. The poor little girls don't understand why they can't have their fun. Their mothers seem determined to make them into little pink nightmares when they grow older. All the satin and lace in the world will never be able to dress up the emotional wounds when they are older, always weighed down by whether they will ever be beautiful enough. It's pageant night, and all the baby monsters are being born on stage. All right, this next one's called Boom. Gotta like a title like that, Boom. Carol pulled the minivan into the garage and watched the door slowly fall in the rearview mirror. Jackie and Melissa got out of the van as quick as they could and tracked Mud into the kitchen. She looked around at the mess they left as she toted the first few sacks of groceries on the counter. Goodness gracious, you kids. A little help with the groceries? She yelled back at them. But the only answer she heard was cartoons that blared in the background. Now she had to sweep and mop. She didn't have time for this. She still had to bake her apple cobbler for Wednesday night at the church. Jackie, Melissa, still no answer. She went back out to grab the rest of the groceries, and as she sat them down on the counter, she heard a loud boom, then nothing. As she fell, she hit her head against the counter and blacked out cold. The girls ran into the kitchen crying. Tears streamed down their face, and they kneeled at their mother's side and tried to wake her. They gently slapped her face and tried to open her eyes. Nothing worked. Is Mom dead? Jackie shouted at Melissa. Their ears were still full of bells and whistles. She's breathing. Her heart is beating. I don't think she's dead. What do we do? Call 911. Jackie went for the phone, but it was dead. Melissa looked down and saw her mother open her eyes finally. What happened? Are you guys okay? We're fine. We need to get out of here. They helped Carol to her feet. The three forced the front door open, and what laid before their eyes was unbelievable. You know what time it is, E.B.? Jeff asked as he twisted his grinder over and over in his hand. It's 4:18 p.m. Almost time. E.B. jumped up and down, danced around in excitement. The Chihuahua loved weed as much as Jeff did, begged to have smoke blown in his face. Jeff didn't think himself a very competent pet owner by doing such a thing, but he wasn't all that concerned with the thought. He only had 2 minutes left. With the television on mute, Jeff pushed play on the stereo, and Dave Brubeck's Take 5 blared out of the speakers. E.B. began his dance as 4:20 came quickly, and Jeff lit the bowl and sucked for all of his life on the bong. Then all of a sudden, he heard a boom and the windows blew out. E.B. ran into the bathroom and jumped into the tub, where he usually went to hide during thunderstorms. Jeff had been pushed to the floor and coughed, saw his bong had been turned over along with his freshly ground weed. Holy Christ, that was some explosive shit! E.B. came back and licked his face as he rolled over and pushed himself off the floor. He looked out the window. He looked out his window and saw devastation all around. It was as a car bomb went off in Beaver, Cleaverville. Mario hated the roar of the blower as he carried on his back. Hated it more than anything else, but it was part of his job, all the noise. If it wasn't the blower, it was the lawnmower or the weed eater that annoyed him. He wished he could get a job that required no noise. He'd have killed to be a janitor at the public library, but he didn't have his green card. So he's stuck working for his brother-in-law's lawn care business. He always wore earmuffs whenever he worked, which annoyed the other guys on the job. They wanted to talk all the time. Where did you come from? Where is your family? Check out the hot ass on the lady who drinks in the morning. He didn't care to jabber on. He wanted to get the job done and go home, be with his wife and children. The blower hummed along as the rest of the world faded from his notice, and he thought about how he could get a better job. He needed more education, but that would cost money he didn't have at the moment. The winds of change had swept him up, and he landed no better off than when he started off from his village in Honduras. He was almost done with the yard when something pushed him to the ground and the blower motor quit. He pulled off his earmuffs, and all around, car alarms and smoke detectors blared their loud, panicked cry. He staggered on his feet and grabbed his head that throbbed in pain. The house with the lovely blonde housewife who sat by the pool was gone. Nothing left but the stump of a chimney. He couldn't believe his eyes, but it was gone. All gone. We want one more? One more? Hold on just a second. Like I said, I am paper impaired today. Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana. Mana mana.
Yeah, it's loading, I swear. It'll be up in just a second, and until then I'll just be funny. Mana mana.
Here we go. All right, I read this one at the first one of these that we did. It's called Wrong Number. Oh, do we all want to get into this? No? Okay. So I was sitting around the other night watching Netflix and munching on some ice cream when the phone buzzed in my pocket. My phone never rings anymore, just buzzes. That's the great thing about cell phones. You don't have to be bothered with picking up if you don't know the number. Now, normally I wouldn't have taken the call since I was trying to pay attention to the show. The trouble was that it was a local number. I considered for a moment that someone I might know could be calling with an emergency, or a friend with a new number I haven't heard from in a while, or even someone I know who just wanted to say hi. I later considered my night would have gone much easier if I'd simply checked my overthinking mind and ignored the call. The first call didn't go so well. His name was Dawson, and he liked to refer to himself in the third person. I didn't get a chance to ask why, but he did. "Dawson here," he said as soon as I picked up. "Why didn't you answer Dawson's call on the second ring?" I tried politely to explain to Dawson I believe he had the wrong number and hung up the phone. Not moments later, he called back. For some reason, I don't know why, I answered on the second ring. "See? Dawson ain't dumb. This is the number Dawson was given." Again, I explained that he had the wrong number. I tried to tell him I didn't know anyone named Dawson. Then my phone beeped with another call coming in. I heard him say, "Wait, no one makes Dawson wait," before I switched over. The next person on the phone was someone's mother. She too didn't believe that she had the wrong number. Her baby would never give her the wrong number, and she swore up and down she dialed right. "Now listen, I don't know who you are, but you just tell my baby that he needs to call his mama right now." And she hung up. I didn't even think about Dawson after that. Not a moment later, my phone went up buzzing on the coffee table in front of me again. I huffed and puffed and figured why not? I'll just pick it up. This time it was a woman. I figured from her tone that she was someone's girlfriend. Someone must have gotten himself into some pretty hot water, because the torrent of curses that came out of her mouth were worse than anything I'd heard before. She never let me speak once to explain that she had the wrong number. Just called me every name in the book but a child of God and hung up. At this point, I was contemplating whether I should just turn the phone off altogether when it buzzed again. Dawson. "No one hangs up on Dawson." "I'm sorry, but I'm not sure who you think this is." I tried again, but to no avail. Dawson wasn't hearing any of it. Where is Dawson's money? What? Dawson is owed money. Dawson wants it all tonight, or else. It went on like this for a while, on and on and on throughout the night. Dawson threatened, Dawson cursed. A couple of times he just suggested I might like to meet the business end of his boot. I kept hanging up the phone. I kept answering, not because I was stupid. I could have turned the phone off at any time. I was interested. I was curious. Most of all, I wanted to see what Dawson would do. After the 4th call, Dawson told me he was coming. Dawson is on his way to get his money. It better be there when Dawson gets there, or something bad will happen. I pleaded with the man to understand that he had the wrong number. Look, Dawson, you seem like a reasonable guy. I'm not saying that whoever you're looking for didn't give you what he thought was the right number. I'm just saying you aren't reaching who you're looking for. Dawson doesn't believe that. Dawson is coming. But where? I thought about doing something, but what would I do? Call the cops? Well, what'd I tell a cop? Some guy calling the wrong number is threatening me and I have no idea who he is or where he's going? So I ignored it. Dawson called one last time. He said he could see me talking on the phone, which was incredible since I was inside a room in the house with no windows. Dawson, you're not looking at me, so what are you looking at? What do you mean? You're talking on the phone right now. In fact, hold on. I heard the car door open and the ding, ding, ding of the door alarm fading as Dawson walked away from it. Then I heard a metallic clink. Turn around and look Dawson in the face. I heard a gunshot and the phone went dead. I looked at it, then placed it back on the coffee table. If I wasn't dead, I asked myself in shock, then who was? All right, thanks guys. Let's get some more music up here.